Hey folks, welcome back to my series on why our society is so dysfunctional. In particular, right now at this kind of inflection point post Charlie Kirk shooting. And in today's video, I want to explore with you something rather obvious, something rather basic, but something that's not discussed enough, which is that we have a major deficiency of love in our culture. That culturally speaking, we are very weak when it comes to developing our capacity to love. Now, I want to break this down for you in a bunch of different ways. Let me give a little context here, though, for you on myself here, because truth be told, this is a bias of mine. I come from a background of working very hard on compassion in our spiritual practices. So I spent years and years and years going deep into compassion practices, at working at opening my heart, at working at loving and expanding my capacity to love and strengthening and deepening my ability to meet challenging moments and challenging places in myself and challenging places in others with love. So I want to be clear here. This might be something that I'm, a little more cultivated at than your average person. I want to be clear here that this is something that I value and am biased. Okay. With that being said, from my perspective, when I'm working with clients, so when someone comes to me with a deep core life issue that they're struggling with, a block, a hang up, a piece of, something they're working on with their mental health or what have you, and they want support, they want help. And we start looking at the quality of relating in their life. And by the way, if you haven't seen my recent video on, attachment and its role in what we're seeing in society, or my video on evil and understanding what evil is, go back and watch those. I guess I'll leave the links down below here. When clients come to me, they almost always are overdeveloped in their ability to judge and their ability to hold shame and their ability to project some sort of heavy directive blame, and almost always radically underdeveloped in their ability to hold compassion, to be kind, to be curious and get insight as to why or what's going on, and to, in general, meet, whether it's themselves or something in the world around them, with some love in their heart. Now, I think this is a cultural thing. I think this is a societal thing. I think we have a culture in our society that lionizes materialism, selfishness, independence, and I think all those things have their place, let's be clear, but it lionizes them and de-emphasizes caring, kindness, goodness, love, respect. And so a lot of people grow up either not having really solid imprints or understandings of what love is, what love feels like to hold inside themselves, when it feels like true love, or they have real distorted maps and understandings of what love is. A lot of people see love as weakness. A lot of people see love as just sappiness, right? As if you can't be loving and strong, or loving and clear, or loving and bold. They see it as softness. They see it as vulnerability. And in our culture, we are terrified of being vulnerable. But the kind of deep fulfillment that we seek in life, the kind of joy, the kind of happiness, the contentment, the deep well-being, the mental peace, the emotional peace, comes from opening your heart, from working at opening your heart, from developing this ability to feel open. And open can feel vulnerable in moments, but open also allows you to be filled with this deeper capacity, this deeper presence of love that exists in life. We could call it a spiritual thing. We could call that just maybe a psychological thing, that just when you open up your heart, what you find is this deep wellspring of love. However you want to label that, however you want to frame that, I don't really care. It's just functionally and experientially true in my experience. Now, because we have this real deficiency, part of, sorry, I'm off on a tangent here. Let me kind of redo that. So part of the reason I think we have this deficiency is that people conflate two things, okay? And I want to make a distinction here. So Love, I think fundamentally is a part of the life force. It is a part of being alive. It is probably a part of, well, it's not probably, well, why am I bullshitting you? It's spiritual. Love is the presence of God in the human body. It is one of the ways that we know life is good. It is one of the ways that we know that there is a larger, deeper, unifying field to life. That unifying field has an emotional tone to it. It can be understood at an emotional level as love. That's how I see it. Now, love is transcendent. Love is all-encompassing. Love is unifying. Love is embracing. Love is connective. And love is unconditional. It truly is. But you see a lot in the world where people don't believe that love is unconditional, love is conditional, because they don't understand what love is. Okay? Now, here's the distinction that I was going to give you. Love is unconditional, but survival is conditional. Okay? So survival meaning safety, comfort, a sense of well-being, a sense of having all your needs met. That is conditional, right? Like if someone runs up and attacks me with a knife, that's a conditional experience. I do not feel, safe in that moment. My survival is not assured in that moment. It is contingent upon some, either getting distance from that person or neutralizing the threat or whatever, right? So safety, right? If I'm starving and I have no food, right? And I'm going to die because I'm, malnourished and my body's falling apart. That is conditional. I need food in order to continue to live, right? So survival is conditional. Love is unconditional. But survival and love overlap in relationships. Okay, so think about this with me for a moment. Part of the reason for, love is the felt sense of interconnection between people, would be one way of understanding it. Now, that is unconditional. That field of interconnectedness of all life forms is always there. It's regardless of whether you like it or not, whether you acknowledge it or not, it continues. It persists, right? And one lens, it would be that that's either God or a quality of God, an aspect of God, however you want to think about it. But there's a spiritual aspect to that. But it's all present, it's all pervasive, it's all the time. And that shows up in our relating. Right? That's there, that's felt, that can be experienced directly between two people or between multiple people. At the same time, what is also present in our relating is survival. Because as human beings, we are too slow, weak, etc., to survive based off raw physicality in nature. So our survival strategy has been group connection, relationship, building relationships that are strong enough that we want to mutually ensure each other's survival. So in relationship, there's both a survival component and a transcendent, sacred, spiritual love component, if you want to think of it that way. Now, because of that, when it comes to relationships, we get really confused. Are they conditional? Are they unconditional? Well, it depends on the context of the relationship and what's happening and, what set of experience, we're talking about you at the level of love, or are you talking about you at the level of surviving? Anyways, my point here is that as a culture, we have massively underdeveloped our capacity for love. We have massively overrepresented survival fears and needs, while at least in the developed world, for the most part, survival is secured, right? It's not always easy. I get it. A lot of us are struggling right now, but it's secured, right? So this is a major block, both to how we co-create a future in a society that is thriving and beautiful and healthy and everything we would want it to be. And this is also a major block in terms of people's mental health, in terms of the reason we have issues and the types of issues that we have. This underdevelopment of our capacity to love holds us back It hems us in. It distorts our understanding of life. It truly underserves us. And it leaves us deeply unfulfilled. If I can be honest here, the more I open my heart, the more I come from love toward life, the happier I am. Like there is this is weird to say, but it's kind of true that selfishness and selflessness, there's like a weird interweaving of the two. Neither is cleanly to state. When it comes to loving life, others, the world, it benefits them, but I also get a reward in that I feel love as well. So this is one of the big problems here. And I guess my advice to you, if you've made it through all this video so far, is consider working at your capacity for love. Then consider surrounding yourself as much as possible with people who are also capable of loving. You don't have to be just this wide open, vulnerable person around a bunch of toxic people who have no interest in being loving. But also the presence of love transforms. Not always, but often. And so I would strongly encourage you, if you're watching this, to just think on what I'm saying here. Consider that cultivating your ability to love is massive, and it is win-win. It will transform your life. It will improve your mental health. It will perhaps deepen your spiritual life or open your spiritual life if you don't have one yet. It also is kind of what the entire world needs to pivot into a more functional, thriving society. If you'll notice with me for just a moment, and then we'll wrap the video here, when you look around at all the toxic, weird, heavy, dark, funky, socio-political stuff, whether we're talking politics or religion or what have you, it's always this corrupting of the messaging of love, this co-opting of the messaging of love to be us and them, otherizing in some form, which is truly like, that is not love. That's survival. Okay. That otherizing, that's survival. That's not love. Love is just presence, connection, honoring, resonating, accepting. Now, if you look at all of these movements, the thing they all have in common is the absence of love. So take that for what you will. Anyways, let me know how this lands. Leave a comment down below. Does this resonate for you? Do you like this kind of content? I've got years worth of these kinds of insights to share. Anyways, much love to you. I hope you're doing well out there. And I hope this lands for you. Okay, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.